Well, hello everybody. What is up? Welcome to FSP. Let's see, we're on episode 104. Hi. This is we're finally here. We're officially in showcase week because on Friday we have the start of showcase season with Summer Game Fest, followed by the Devolver Digital Show, some other stuff that day as well. You got like Day of the Devs, something called Future of Play Direct. Well, that's actually on the 8th. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, we got 3 shows coming up on this. What was that? The cat? Whap!
Yeah,
Whap!
yeah, he
A whap!
he wants to be on camera.
that's awesome. That's a yeah. Anyway, yeah, we got 3 days or 4 days actually of shows starting on Friday. Multiple co-streams Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We will be live with co-streams. And I'm freaking pumped. It's going to be a blast. We got multiple shows here this week leading up to it all. We got this, we got PM and the PM, and then on Friday we'll have the co-stream and then Xbox Ultimate to kind of break down everything that happened on Summer Game Fest. So it's gonna be a loaded week, and I'm fucking pumped. I know Fuzzy's excited. We were just talking behind the scenes a little bit about how excited we are because this is my favorite time of the year as a gamer. Always, you get all the cool announcements and stuff like that. But what's your feelings, Fuzz, rolling into here, man?
Gamer Christmas. I mean, it's broken down into 3 categories for me right now as far as the hype. Like, I know everybody's hyped for like the new titles and then like follow-ups on like titles we already know about, the new stuff that they're going to surprise us with. But I'm also excited for some of the stuff that's going to be like the updates. Like the update for Diablo is going to be big for me. The update for Starfield with Shattered Space is going to be big for me. Hopefully we see something for Forza as well. Want to see a couple more tracks. Maybe the drag racing is ready. And if we get to see, Forza Horizon 6 and stuff, yeah, gonna be over the moon.
Yeah.
But, and it is truly gamer Christmas this time of year, and it's like I can't lose. I figure at this point we're gonna see so many games that if you can't find a game in this showcase coming up, I think you probably need to find a new hobby. But yeah, it's building. It's building.
Yeah.
Not quite to the point where I can't sleep, but yeah, I know probably Saturday night it's gonna be like, yeah, I'm gonna be like bouncing off of walls.
How you doing other than that, man? Like things going good?
Oh yeah, pretty good. Haven't really been on Twitter as of lately, but playing a lot of Diablo. Been playing Forza Horizon 5. Trying to get the cars for the week and stuff like that, but fell back into Diablo. My first character that I reached level 100 with, like all these other times, it's like, oh, I made it to like 90, 80, 70. This one did a necro, made it to 100, got the achievement for it, and been having fun, a lot of fun with it. Still waiting to get a couple more updated unique drops that are leveled 925 instead of 900, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with it. And that's why, like what I said, I'm looking forward to their expansion here coming up here soon. See how that does, because they have the grind and the loot down pat this time. Like that launch was pretty good, and then they kind of mix things up a bit.
Yeah.
This time, I think the balance is right there.
I've seen a lot of people talking about hopping back into Diablo with this season. PTK has been pushing it like hard. I've seen a lot of stuff with his post and other people talking about it too. It prompted me to go ahead and dive back into it. I've been kind of like playing a bunch of random stuff, and but yeah, I think I'm like level 50 right now in Diablo 4 in this season, and yeah, so I'm about to probably go try and move up to World Tier 3 and do that now. But so I haven't dabbled into entirely how all the loot system works yet because I'm kind of waiting. But I can say that they really captured the loot. The loot, like I've already gotten like several sacred or several uniques, not sacred, but several uniques at this point. And it just feels like you're progressing faster, getting loot faster. It's not any kind of like crazy grind. It's more of just a fun like loot thing where you really feel like you're building your character, even at an earlier level, right? So yeah, man, I think they are onto something, and that sets up the stage for potentially at the showcase we could see Diablo 4 Vessel of Hatred, right? Like, there's not going to be a BlizzCon this year. They canceled that. So we could probably at this Xbox showcase expect some of the things we may have seen at BlizzCon, unless they do a separate event later, like some kind of Blizzard Direct or something like that. It'd be pretty cool. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm anticipating we see Diablo 4 expansion, maybe some World of Warcraft stuff, because that was very heavy last year at the BlizzCon event. Maybe some Overwatch stuff too. Who knows? But those live service type games are always important at these shows for them because they're ongoing games and they have huge fan base with millions of players and stuff. So there's audiences that tune in that specifically for these shows or the BlizzCon or whatever, just because they want to see what their favorite game content might be. So when like some of us were all just waiting for the next big announcement and we see, oh, it's the ESO update, Fallout 76 update, you know, oh, it's another Forza Horizon update or another blah, 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 blah. Sea of Thieves, you know, it's like the fans of those games are like, whoa, what's next, you know? So they always make a point to have that stuff there. And I think it'll be with Diablo, it's just like every Diablo game. It seems like they always kind of have these waves, right? But then they hit their stride and then really start taking off. It seems like this season could be the start of that, really, for Diablo 4. So enjoying it.
You know, they got that competition peeking over the horizon with Path of Exiles 2, giving it a go the second time around. So
it's going to be interesting.
It just makes it more interesting.
Yeah. And that's how they got the PlayStation marketing now behind it. It's free to play, so it's going to be everywhere. So I don't really think that matters. But I think there's room for both games. I mean, with Diablo 3, both games existed and both did well for a long time. And I think it's going to be the same going forward with Diablo 4 and Path of Exile. You're going to have fans that are more of a fan of one or the other. But I really like what they're showing for Path of Exile 2 also.
I look at it as it'll be like the same back and forth between Destiny and The Division. They'll each have their peaks and valleys and things, and something will appeal to players more on one side or maybe on another type of thing. But I'm looking forward to both actually. But I'm glad Diablo made the changes that they did for this season in comparison to previous. And then Path of Exiles 2 looks like it'll be fun. Couch co-op, don't really have a need for it, but it's cool that they added that, and interesting to see if Blizzard tries something like that down the road type of deal. But it's we're going to be eating good here for the next few years, and the showcase I think is going to be like above and beyond a buffet. I think it's going to be pretty much like the almost like a festival type deal, to the point where we're going to be like, I don't know if I'll have enough time to play these games before 2024, because it sounds like Clockwork Revolution might make 2024 as well.
Yeah, like what I hear, like people talking about this and stuff, and it's like if that's the case, I don't know, but I know they teased a little thing on Twitter talking about their guns and stuff, but I haven't. Well, I guess we'll find out. I mean, if it shows up again at this showcase with like a 2024 date, that'd be crazy. But I wouldn't pull anything past them. They got so many games though that they don't really need to put it out this year. But maybe they were like, maybe one other game fell out, so they're in Exile's like, we're ready to go. I don't know. You never know with these studios, man. We just off the heels of Hellblade 2, and for all the people that say it's not a win or success or whatever, I mean, it's a solid game that's reviewed for the most part really well, and despite if Gene Park or whoever doesn't like it, I think the majority of people that have played it actually have good things to say. And so you're going to be coming off the heels of that into showcase season now, and we're going to have a lot of announcements, some new game reveals. You're going to have updates on existing games. There's potential talk of like Xbox showing up at Summer Game Fest, also at Keighley Show with some stuff as well. And then you have all the other little events too. And then the crazy thing is, even after this huge event of this year for Xbox, just like last year, they're probably not done with announcements because last year they announced things afterwards too, and they continued to do so even at the Game Awards, where they held off Blade's announcement for the Game Awards. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you never. That's just the position they're in now. They have something in their back pocket. They can wait and decide to announce it later. So
Yeah.
you never know, man. But like we were trying to figure out runtime, and I was trying to piece these things together, you know. But real quick, I want to say hi to the chat. Shout out to the chat. We got Jasper hanging out with us from a place where he can't talk to us as much as he used to anymore. But thanks for being in the chat, Jasper. I appreciate you, bro. And I hope you're liking it and liking the weather there. That's absolutely awesome. Shout out to Luke. How you doing, man? Luke says just under 2 hours. Does that include the Call of Duty Redacted show? Counting COD? Where are you? And I want to know where you're hearing that exactly, because if you look at Summer Game Fest calendar, right, they have like the start times for all the shows. So the Xbox Game Showcase says 1 p.m. Eastern is a start time, but then the next show on the calendar doesn't start until 4 p.m. Eastern with the PC Gaming Show. Now, just generally speaking, from the years past, there's usually not a full hour gap in between these shows. So I don't know if they left a little bit of extra room for Xbox this time. Maybe it's like over 2 hours, like 2 hours and 20 minutes or whatever. But yeah, I rumblings before were that they were trying to cut down the length of this thing because it was just too monstrous. But that was rumblings, that was rumors, right? There was people saying in the past that like at one point this show was like over 3 hours long and they had to wind it down even more and more and more and more. But we'll see. It's interesting. Luke says, call it fun speculation. The gap is likely due to the location being further away, letting fans, media move as needed. But is the PC gaming show like a live show with an audience? Is it usually? I don't remember how it's usually structured. It says PC Gamers Showcase of the latest and greatest in PC games is back for its 10th year. Expect announcements for your favorite games and a few surprises. So Luke says he heard just under 2 hours counting Call of Duty. Right on. That means if that's the case, that means they got it down to around the same length as the last couple years, which makes sense. I was thinking they might go a little bit longer though. And then the question is, how long do they spend on COD? Like, what do you think, Fuzz? How long do they spend on Call of Duty for the redacted thing?
I think it's pretty close to at least a half hour. I would say 20 minutes possibly of gameplay, some 10 minutes of like them talking about some new components or mechanics or some new aspects to it. But I think it's at least a 30-minute thing. I don't think they go as into much depth as they did with Starfield, because I think that was like 40 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we get at least 30, maybe 35 minutes at most. They gotta make mention at some point the other Call of Duty is coming to Game Pass. Whether they do that in the main showcase or in the redacted part, we'll see. But yeah. I figure they get a half hour.
Yeah, but maybe half hour, right? I don't see 45 minutes like a Starfield thing for sure. So Jasper just put it in the chat. Jasper, can I have permission to tell everybody on the show? Because like, so what happened was Jasper was hoping that he was going to be able to be back to podcast with us sooner. But because of the situation that he just now is in, he's not going to be able to for a while. So he was planning on telling everybody what's going on when he was back. But now it's going to be a longer wait. So he says yes. Okay. So Jasper, our Jasper, the one and only lore master himself. I know that people have been curious what the hell, like, because we've been like really not specifically saying where Jasper went or what's going on. But yeah, Jasper joined the Space Force. That's no fucking joke. Jasper actually joined the Space Force. He got accepted into it. It's not like an easy thing to get into or anything like that. And so when he left, is because he was going to boot camp and doing all the training stuff, and then now he's moved on to technical school, and they're going from there. But yeah, like we've been super proud of him, and in the background. And it's awesome because it just fits him so much to a T. But he'll be back at some point as long as he doesn't forget about us, because he's got like this super important special job now. And it's going to be pretty crazy to see what he does. It can be, who knows what is possible in the Space Force, dude. But like, if you guys know, like, followed him and stuff, you know how much he loves space and is like into like tracking the stars and all this kind of crazy stuff. Like, that's how he played Starfield. It just is up his alley 100%. But yeah, Jasper is now in the Space Force, guys. So that's where he is. People were guessing CIA. Still, I think there's still special security clearances and stuff, so he couldn't really say what was going on. But yeah, it's not CIA or anything like that. He's in the Space Force, guys. Yeah, Nate Doc says I literally said NASA a couple times. Yeah, but no, it's not NASA. It's the closest thing I guess you can get to, unless you work for SpaceX. So maybe that'll be his path, Fuzzy. Maybe he'll go Space Force to either working for Elon or working for NASA.
One of the two.
One of the two.
Or he could be the guy that we hear has to do some whistleblowing in like 20 years, you know. I saw the aliens. No, but man, it's definitely an exciting thing, and the fact that you know, this was like a dream for him and was able to accomplish it and stuff like that, and going through the training now, it's so awesome, man.
Yeah,
I can't wait until hear some of the stories, because basic is always one of those weird things. When you go through it, it's like sometimes it can be a horrible experience, sometimes it can be a funny experience when you look back on it, kind of thing. But yeah, so amazing.
Yep, for sure. We're super proud of you, bro, and thanks for hanging out with us tonight. Shout out to Lanzo, Nate Dog, Alvin, Masshole, Bledsoe, 45, Poison Maniac, Scorpio, Buzz. We got Talos Ray, Whoop Whoop Kid, E Ranks, Matoni, Jason Max. We got Luke Lord hanging out. Tamales. I love tamales. Let's see. Void Rat is here hanging out. I may have already said that. Beautiful wife Caitlin is here hanging out. Lakers fan since 1986 is here hanging out. Michael Squires. Lots of awesome people. If I didn't get your name, apologize, but I just appreciate each and every one of you here for hanging out on FSP tonight. RSJ fan, Danny Passion. What's up? What's up? Eric the Red. How's it going? Yeah. So Eric the Red says, I'll be in LA. Nice. Who all in the chat is going to be in LA? Is anybody in the chat going to be in LA for these showcases and stuff? If you are, let us know. I won't be. We'll be here co-streaming. Speaking of, so this is a little bit of a sidetrack real quick, but I don't want to forget to say this before we move on and start talking more showcase stuff. But I'm going to look at the chat and see the answers for anybody who's going to the shows. Luke's going. Damn.
Nice.
Shout out to PTK also. So something happened today. I'm wearing my Cowboys hat today for a specific reason. Because a legendary Hall of Fame Cowboy passed away today at 52. And for anybody that knows me, I'm a huge homer. I'm a huge Cowboys fan, huge Mavericks fan. I am a Rangers fan. I'm a Stars fan, all the hometown teams. But, you know, growing up primarily, you know, Cowboys and Mavericks and stuff were just like everything. And growing up in the 90s, you know, as an 80s and 90s kid, I got to see the Michael Irvin, Troy Aikman, Emmitt Smith era, right? The triplets of the Dallas Cowboys. And one of the focal point people that dominated and made the team what it was back then for a long time was Larry Allen, known as one of the best offensive linemen ever to play. And if you ever go watch tape, like, this dude was like an ox. He was like one of the strongest players ever to play the game. But he tragically passed away at the age of 52. So as a diehard Cowboys fan, this one actually hurt, you know. But yeah, rest in peace to Larry Allen, who was one of the big guys you actually had to watch when you're watching the games. Like a lot of times you don't watch the linemen, you know, you watch all the skill players and stuff. But when you're watching the Cowboys in the era, you watched Larry Allen at times just to see how he would manhandle people. And it's absolutely crazy. He held records for bench pressing and all that stuff. He was fast, crazy, like running down players after fumbles and stuff. But anyway, it was a little sidetrack thing. I just had to get my own little thing out there for Larry Allen, because it was just somebody is like you think is unstoppable, just all of a sudden gone, just like that. He's on vacation with his family. So it's crazy, guys. Don't take anything for granted. That's for damn sure. Yeah, we got some games to talk about, Fuzz. Got the showcase. So I trust Luke a little bit, and it makes sense if you're to like say like, oh, they're trying to cut it down. That's what they always end up doing, right? But they also have ABK now, right? And there's no BlizzCon later this year. So in my gut says that maybe this show would be a little bit longer, right? Maybe like an hour and 45 minutes, and maybe they only do like 15 minutes of Call of Duty. So I don't know how much. They said a deep dive on Call of Duty Black Ops 6, but I don't know how much you need when there's still so much time left to market it. But they got so many things that they can show. And the good news is whatever they don't show means it was probably cut down due to time, and they're going to show it off somewhere else later, right? But there's also another element to this, because they announced in the blog post today, Xbox did, and I don't think a lot of people caught this, but they had actually said that they will be broadcasting post-show content. So the next day, on the 10th, starting from Monday, June 10th, and running throughout the week, the official Xbox podcast will be airing a series of special episodes offering updates and deeper dives into titles featured during the Xbox Game Showcase. So running throughout the week. So that's Monday. So we can anticipate maybe five of these things, possibly. Deeper dives into the games featured during the showcase. And these shows will be published daily on the Xbox YouTube channel and podcast services, with accompanying articles on Xbox Wire. So for games that they're showing at this showcase, we're going to get deeper dives as well the entire week. And I'm imagining mostly first-party games, but there could be some third-party stuff there. Maybe like Stalker 2 or something like that. I don't know. But that was actually pretty exciting to me that they're doing it this way, because that seems like a Tina Meany thing. And it seems a little different than they've done in the past, where they just kind of have like, here, let's just talk about these games that we all showed for like one kind of thing, you know? But this is like, seems predetermined, specific games they're going to be talking about each day of the week to highlight them. So I'm actually really looking forward to that and seeing what they're going to show. Did you catch that, Fuzz?
Yeah, I think it's probably from some of the feedback that they've gotten over the years, as far as for like the deeper dives, save that for later, because some people don't really want to hear the devs, or maybe it's they want to hear about the particular game they're looking forward to, but maybe not the one that they're not looking forward to, like something like Minecraft Legends. I know a lot of people are like, I don't want to see that. I'd rather see, what's coming from, Obsidian or something like that. But it gives you that time to kind of see, okay, well, Obsidian's going to go into a deeper dive on Avowed at this hour, or the next day at this hour, type of thing. So it's a pretty cool setup at that point.
Yeah.
But, and it's, I think they now realize they have so much content that they have, that they can't just fit it all in one show, and that's it. It's going to be like, all right, we're going to show you the games because you want to see the games, and then we're going to give you more info about the games, like, hey, when's it, it's coming out at this point, pre-order it, download it, this is what the gameplay looks like, things along those lines, and this is why we may have made this change compared to like the previous zombies and Call of Duty, we're doing it this way, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Having that as like a separate, stage kind of thing, pretty cool.
Yeah, I like it. When they're kind of using the post Larry Herb era, the Xbox podcast as like a separate announcement type show, because that's how they did the business update event too, right? And before they've had like interviews and stuff with people and things like that, but they're actually using this specifically to market like games in a bigger way now. I kind of like that direction that they're doing with it, because it actually gets people to tune into that. And I think it's going to draw more attention to those games, whichever ones. And I think it's probably going to be the bigger first party games, obviously. I'm sure they'll probably have like some of the developers on doing the kind of like interview talk and then show some of the gameplay and stuff like that. But then they'll also have maybe some third party stuff. So we'll see what they show. I don't know if it's just going to be like one game per show, or if they're going to have multiple games per show. I would think they would do a couple different games per show. So, but what's your over and under on the amount of games shown at the Summer Games Showcase?
Yeah, I was originally thinking maybe it's closer to 2.5 hours overall, but I'm thinking we still get in the high 30s, like 36 games or so. Probably more than half of them, or at least like 20 of them, are probably from first party or partnered, as far as like things like contraband and stuff like that, where it's like a second party deal type of deal. And then I think we get 10 to 15 what do you call them, like indie games or AAA third party, like hopefully Splinter Cell with Ubisoft, which we'll also get to see probably the next day. But just like they did with Outlaws last year, hopefully we get to see a sneak peek of it at the Xbox showcase kind of thing.
So I was speaking of contraband, I was in XNC's chat earlier with Colt and Mag, and I think Gaz was even there for a while. But the Tom Warren was in the chat, and I caught something he had said. He said that contraband is a ways off still, which has surprised me. But if it's Tom Warren speaking, I usually listen, right? Like, there's a lot of podcasters and people and stuff, and sometimes people hear things and stuff. You don't really know 100% where it's coming from, there's been so much conversation with podcasters in the past before these showcases where everybody's 100% sure something's going to happen and it doesn't happen, right? So generally with like the community, with the like podcasters and stuff like that, I tend to not just believe everything I hear, but when it comes from certain people, like Tom Warren, who is like a journalist that has usually leaks, when he leaks stuff, it's usually spot on, right? And Jez tends to know things or have hints at things that he's teased before. Is there certain people, like when they say certain things or tease certain things, or I tend to listen more. So if Tom Warren says that contraband's a ways off, I'm tending to believe it. And I think on the XNC that one of them, I don't remember who it was, said that it may have been delayed or something. So internally, so it could be a ways off. I know that they've been talking about that on that show for a while, but Tom Warren said it in print in a chat room. So I'll take Tom's word. But it doesn't mean we won't see it, right?
True.
It could have moved from like end of this year or early next year to end of next year or late next year, something like that, possibly.
But they, what do you call it? Avalanche just recently had a round of layoffs where they're in the process of doing some layoffs. So to me, that was kind of saying that, well, maybe the game is wrapped up and they can kind of slim down till their next project, like Just Cause 5 or something like that. There's unfortunately, a lot of studios wind up doing that, where it's like they finish a project, they cut it back down to the core team, and then they move on to the next project because they want to try and keep numbers balanced before, I guess, they take on the next project. And then they sometimes rehire people back or hire new people back or contract people out and stuff like that. But I'm like PTK said in the chat, I'm wondering if layoffs now will be have any effect on the game, if that was due to the game being maybe push back, or if it's with those layoffs, if it causes the pushback or delay on the game and stuff. But originally, when I heard that news about Avalanche, I was like, oh, probably like we've heard layoffs all year round and last year and whatnot. It seems like it's an ongoing thing no matter what. But I was like, well, that probably means they wrapped it up.
Right.
They can slim back down to their pre ramp up size, and then release the game, start working towards getting ready for Just Cause 5 or whatever the case may be, and then ramp up again type of thing. But I guess we'll see. I still think there's a small chance we get to see it, like you said, even if it's delayed, we could still show it, because before it was a CGI trailer.
Yeah.
I think they now would show, all right, here's some gameplay. Still a little polishing left to do. See this sometime in 2025. So they put like a fall 2025 date at the end of the trailer or something like that. We'll see.
Yeah, that's what if we see it, I think it may say like a year of release, and then like that gives them the opportunity the next year to have like a quarter and then narrow it down to a day, I think a lot of people, we always are like, we need release dates for everything, and like that's always a conversation with Xbox. Hey, if they don't give us dates on these games, I don't trust them or whatever. But like, they have so many games coming, and like I personally am in the mind of like, don't give us any damn dates anymore, Xbox, until you're hitting the date, right? So I think they've been purposefully like holding off dates, and even if it's coming later in the year, don't give us a date unless you're sure of it. Now, we've already gotten some idea on some of the release for this year, right? But I think there's going to be more dates closer to launch, even at some of the games that could be later this year, right? But we'll see what happens. I don't think if something's coming out necessarily like November, December, we even necessarily get a release date yet, because that's still half a year away, right?
Yeah.
So you could have another thing or another direct or a Gamescom trailer or whatever where you have release dates revealed. So I tend not to panic if I don't get release dates. I would just rather not have delays, right?
Yeah.
Wind it down to where you're sure of, and then narrow it down from there when you're even more sure, right? So, and they're in the position to be able to do that now because they have so many games. Beforehand, it was like they felt the pressure. They had to let people know they had content, But now they have so much content that there's not going to be a question. It's going to be more of just like the regular release of stuff. So, I think if anything, we're probably just going to get the normal cadence of like what they already told us is going to be here for the second half of this year. And then we're going to Summer Showcase this year. We're probably going to get a better look at what's planned for 2025. Because right now, we don't know anything about 2025. We know the games we're speculating for 2025. Like Perfect Dark, potentially Fable, now Contraband, right? Stuff like that. But we don't know. But as far as this year, there's Avowed, Indiana Jones, Flight Simulator, Towerborne, Aura History Untold, Age of Mythology Retold. And I'm probably missing something. We just got Hellblade. But that seems like that, plus also Starfield Shattered Space expansion, Diablo Vessel Hatred expansion. Then potentially other service game expansions and content as well. You've been on the Forza Horizon 6 train, Fuzz, and that was one of your safe predictions on Friday, or was that one of your long shots? I can't remember.
I kind of feel it's a safe one because I think they want to.
But you didn't mean for release this year. Yeah, you didn't mean for release this year. You just meant reveal.
Right. Yeah,
right.
It'll do like a reveal and then come out next year. Because I think they want to put to rest, or put everybody's mind to rest, that they're going to Japan, or at least that's my belief, that they're probably going there for this one, and to at least show it, to at least show like a vertical slice. I think that will, Not that people are going to stop playing 5 at all. There'll still be a good bit of people playing 5, but that will help build the hype between now and whenever the release date, which will probably be like September 25 or something like that. That people will be out of their minds by the time it comes out, because there'll be the whole look of like Fast and Furious 2 and Midnight Club and all those things combined, plus having that festival Forza feel to it type of deal. I
Yeah.
think that's going to probably be one of their biggest locations that, not necessarily size wise, but big locations as far as the hype generated for people wanting them to do something there, and just that region
Yeah.
or the variety of different landscapes and whatnot and stuff. So
That makes a lot of sense. I'm still in the mind that like if we do see Forza Horizon in any kind of way, it'll be like a short tease or something, just like a little like hint. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like one of those really quick teaser trailers. Nothing to it except this is what it is, and they would do like maybe the Tokyo thing or something like that, or just some kind of like hint. Oh, hey, this is gonna be in Japan. Um, maybe somewhere else. They
Yeah.
made a weird tweet the other day with a bunch of like cowboys. Did you see that? Like people dressed up like cowboys. Xbox did. Maybe Forza Horizon's coming to Dallas. Like my dream. Tokyo or Dallas. Let's go. So, but I've been in the mind that Forza wise, I think what I would personally be more excited for right now, because I don't think we're going to get Forza Horizon this year anyway, right? Would be this year massive update to Forza Motorsport that they've kind of kept under wraps, right? Like as far as like a not necessarily like a 2.0 thing, but something to generate a level of hype and excitement around motorsport, because it's kind of like fallen flat for the most part. You have your enthusiasts that are still playing it, like me and you and stuff, right? But as far as like, hey, let's prop this up and more and make it even better and better, because they've had some criticism, right? And if during the showcase you could have something like and show off, drifting, drag racing, some kind of like extra modes outside of the career or something like that, and call it like Forza Motorsport, like revamped type thing or something. I don't know what you call it, but like if they could do something to kind of like generate some hype around a big expansion and update, and that would be kind of like Xbox's style as well, to do something like that, So in the back of my mind, it's something I think is a possibility, but we'll have to wait and see. And I haven't been following with the Forza monthly updates that they do to really keep up with if there's already been talk of that or not. I don't know if you have. I know they talk about the regular routine stuff, but
Right. No, they did something like a more of like the 80s and 90s car
I saw that.
club type races and things like that. I think what was it? They did Brands Hatch, and I think they're talking about another track, and I can't remember what that one is. But I'm hoping soon that we get Bathurst. I'm hoping soon that we get Sebring, and maybe something along the lines of like the other track in Texas. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's like the road course that NASCAR uses, and I think F1
Texas
came there
Motor
one year.
Speedway is the NASCAR track here.
Well, that's the oval, but there's like a road course in Texas as well, and it's like the I forget, I can't even remember what the short name of it is right now.
I
But
live in Texas, and I couldn't even tell you. This how shows how much I pay attention to the actual racing scene.
I'll have it here shortly because
There's
it was actually in Motorsport 7. Where is
there's
Texas?
a drag strip in Ennis. That's where like when I was a teenager, like if you wanted to race legally, you would drive like an hour and a half away from Dallas to go to Ennis, and you would go to the drag strip. But that was back in the day where we had like kind of the heyday of like that scene, you know what I mean? So you had some of like the most famous like drag racers, because they had actually pro events and stuff there too. I remember going to some of those events, dude. It was absolutely apeshit crazy. Seeing like the skylines and stuff like that, like, yeah, that was a crazy scene, dude. Back in the
Circuit of
90s.
America.
Circuit of America.
It yeah, COTA or Circuit of America is what it's called, but it's got like a high elevation for the start finish line. Basically, you race up the hill, but it's a pretty decent road course. And they
Circuit
had
of the
that in Motorsport Center.
Americas. Brett Bingham says, okay, yeah. Buzz says Japan can be versatile. They need a big city in one of these games. Yeah. It's one of the community's biggest wishes. You got Tokyo, then driving around Fuji, make it Japan. Cartooner culture is huge there. Yeah, I hear you, Brett. 100%. Like, I think like people have been asking like for Horizon to evolve a little bit, because if 5, as amazing as it was and as great as it was and how much it grew Forza Horizon, the only criticism I saw was from like fans of Horizon that have been playing every game. Was like, okay, I want to see something evolve a little bit more, right? I saw some criticism from some people there. I mean, I don't know how much it's warranted because it's a Horizon game. However, what I would also like to see is like a city. You know, I want to see them pushed in there, but I don't want them to go all in on that, just the city. Like, make it a part of it. But that's also why a game could take longer than the past Horizons. They're already there graphically. I mean, they don't need to push the boundaries really anymore graphically. Forza Horizon is still fucking gorgeous. But if they could take that graphic fidelity that they have and transfer it to the city of Tokyo, right? And get the highway system there, that if you play classic racing games and stuff, like has done that highway system really well, like Tokyo Extreme Racer and stuff. Like it could just be absolute fucking magic, bro.
Yeah.
I want to see
The
it.
big thing I want from that is like the highway street races. Basically, rolling starts, beat the horn, launch, and then basically you can have like, they could take what they've had in Forza Horizon for years, the club system, which they don't really use it as well as they probably could, but they need to have something where it encourages people to race as a group, or maybe you get like certain decals for your club, or cool hats or jackets or something. Like I almost want them to integrate the real Midnight Club from Japan, which was like a lot of businessmen in the area that had hot cars, and they hopped them up even more, and people would try out to be part of that club. And I want to see something kind of along those lines integrated into it. I could still have the festival stuff. That's like, oh, you do that during the day, or maybe some night festival stuff. But on occasion, you can, make some quick cash or lose your pink slip on a drag strip race or a highway, race or something like that at night type of deal. Just don't get caught by the cops. And if they don't have to have cops in the game, but it'd be kind of cool if they did.
Yeah, I'm curious what they're gonna do. Like, it's one of their best franchises right now with Forza Horizon. So, but I want to get to some of these rumors, Fuzz. Some more have been popping up today. Yeah, with rumors, you always got to take them with a grain of salt. I remember two or 3 years ago when everybody thought they're gonna announce more acquisitions at the Xbox showcase. The whole community was like convinced of this, and it didn't happen. Right? Then every year there's like certain things that we all think is going to happen, and it doesn't happen, and like all the podcasting community and stuff like that is convinced of this because it starts spreading around from person to person to person. This year, with insiders and rumors and the podcasting community especially, I have no idea what to trust. I'm just being honest with you. Like, there's been more people than ever before that seeming like they have inside knowledge, right, that didn't necessarily before. But like, I don't know how trustworthy certain people are. Everybody always gets stuff wrong, and some people seemingly get some stuff right, But there are certain people that have had a track record of having some things come to fruition, right? And one of those persons is Xtus on Twitter. I think I'm only kind of familiar with this person because when they were doing the ABK case, I think he was like streaming the trial and stuff like that a lot. And he's I think he's a Spanish YouTuber. I'm not 100% familiar, so apologize if I get any of this information wrong. But the latest rumors that he's posted, which he's posted other ones that have come true, right? But these latest round of rumors are that they are going to have some kind of a shadow drop, is one of the rumors. And I want to focus on these rumors like individually. Because we've been speculating that it's possible they could do this. And this is also, we've heard this before. I don't remember who else has teased this before. But it's kind of, you could paint this as like an educated guess, right? Because it makes sense. Because they have so many damn games that are ready to go. Or you could paint this as actual insider knowledge, right? It's come out that YouTube as employees have been leaking all these shows and all this stuff, and a lot of the sources and people that have been getting information are actually from YouTube employees, and they're trying to crack down on that, including the PlayStation State of Play and other things. But focusing on this first rumor about a shadow drop. So we've been talking about this a little bit in the past. Do you think, first off, it's true?
I wouldn't be surprised. I think some people were thinking if there is a game that would be shadow drop, maybe Towerborne or maybe 33 Immortals might be. I know they just had a successful beta test. There was a couple of issues the first day or something like that, but they got all of that worked out. So I could see one of those two games possibly being shadow dropped. I don't know if there's a first party game that could be. Maybe Double Fine or something like that, but I don't know if they want to do a shadow drop of one of their first parties after Hi-Fi Rush, and it's no knock on the marketing aspect of it, but I think a shadow drop now might be for like a smaller game that maybe not or doesn't come from first party. That's my gut thinking on it.
Right. I was thinking about it, and like a game we've been speculating could be something that would make sense for a shadow drop at a summer showcase for a while has been Towerborne. And we talked about it numerous times because it's been in insider testing for a while, like you said. Some people said that it wasn't like all that yet, and they needed more work and stuff. Some people said they really like it. Everybody's been under embargo, so they're not really supposed to talk about it too much. But overall, that's a game that is meant to be like a ongoing content game anyway, right? So it's something where you're probably not going to ever hit a massive home run with marketing it ahead of time too much. You're not like, it's never going to show as this like masterpiece type game. It's just not that kind of game, right? So what if kind of like Hi-Fi Rush, they like decide, hey, let's just shadow drop this thing. But what's different with this and Hi-Fi Rush is it's meant to grow an audience over time, right? So like remember like when they put in, let's say they launched this in game preview, right? And in Game Pass. That would be something, okay, like let's dive into it, have fun with it, and it grows over time. Or like like they did with Grounded. They could do like Hi-Fi Rush where it's just a release, but as they kind of said, this is like a ongoing content game that's going to evolve. It would make sense that you don't necessarily need to promise the moon and then drop it and have people upset because of their expectations and all that kind of stuff. Instead, you just say, hey, surprise, you can play this game today, generate some excitement, people start diving in. Some people are like, hey, yeah, I'm into this. Some people are like, no, but like then it gets updated and it gets better over time and develops a community. I could see something like that because when you're trying to get a lot of people to try a game, doing a shadow drop during the biggest showcase season is usually a good way to draw some interest. So Towerborne for me would make some sense, even if it isn't like the super biggest polished, ready to go thing out there, right? But then also my mind goes to the Double Fine stuff, and you can make the same case for that, like a game like that was rumored that they're going to be coming out with Kiln, which is like literally you make clay pots and then they go and fight enemies and smash, and you make like it's just one of those weird Double Fine things, right?
Mhm.
Again, something that's not really going to get a ton of admiration and respect for marketing it like crazy, but you say, hey, play it right now, you might get a lot of people to try it, you know? So
Yeah.
games like that make a lot of sense for shadow drops. One that's in the back of my mind, though, that almost kind of fits in the same boat, but is potentially also more of a bigger polished showpiece experience would be Flight Sim.
Yeah.
Like, would it be a possibility that they could actually shadow drop like a Flight Sim 2024? Because we haven't seen it or anything at all again yet. But
Yeah. I think ever since they showed it, what was it, last year's showcase? I think that was about it. Um,
yeah,
they've had some like closed testing type of things for it, but outside of that, I can't imagine it would be that far off type of thing. Like now would be like around this time would be a perfect time to go ahead and drop it type of
right,
deal. People getting off from school, that maybe they want to learn how to fly during the summer, or just it now when people are taking vacations kind of thing, you can act like you're actually the pilot and see the route that you're going to take, whether you're going on vacation to the Keys, or going from one coast to the other coast type of deal, or fly to Hawaii type of
right.
deal. You can actually do it in game, and that would be a pretty cool thing to have. It's like, okay, try it out today. Game Pass, for those that pre-ordered or ordered the previous one, you get a special plane or something, or
Mm-hmm.
if you want the full plane pack or whatever before they do like some of the third party ones, you pay the $30 or $40 upgrade. But other than that, yeah, I could totally see that being
Right.
a shadow drop. Actually, I'd probably be falling right into that one right after the showcase, just
Yeah.
to see what the update looks like in this area. Fly past the house first and see if they've updated the landscape or the photogrammetry or whatever they call it that they use for it and stuff.
Right. I was trying to think of like, you make a good point about the upgrade though. Like if for Flight Sim, that is one they would probably sell the upgrade thing to. So like, if you shadow drop a game that has that, you're probably gonna sell less of those, right?
Nah, because
You think so?
people like me that if we want those extra planes, we'll play it, and then it'll be like, oh, go to the store,
Right.
add to cart. I don't think they'll sell less of them. I think it would be about the same, because Flight Sim, you can either go, well, on PC, you can kind of go the free route with mods, but if you go with the tried and true, like the polished stuff, especially if it's like launch day, and launch day will probably have
Yeah.
like a small sale type of thing, like launch sale. So you'll probably save like, 10% or something, or 15%, whatever the Game Pass savings thing is. I think that will probably attract the same amount of people that will wind up buying the upgrades and stuff like that.
Yeah. Makes
'Cause the
sense.
upgrades are typically just having, like, usually you get like what, like 6 starter planes or something like that, or maybe it's like 10 starter planes, and then the upgrade was like, I think 25 or something. It wasn't quite double, but it was like you got a few of the bigger planes, you got a few of the smaller like stunt planes and things like that. But I I'll buy it either way. So
Yeah.
that's a day one buy no matter what.
I I'm looking forward to it. But one of my best streams ever, Fuzz, was actually a Flight Sim stream. It was like the
Mm,
day Flight Sim came out or the day after, I can't remember. And I was streaming it, and it was like you can have a lot of fun if you just allow yourself to playing the game. Some people say it's not a
mhm.
game; it's a simulator. Well, fuck
Oh,
that. Like, it's a genre.
it's a game.
It's a fucking
You
genre.
could
Like,
it's a game because there's different modes. Like there's the air racing, like the Red Bull
mhm.
air racing. They had that in there, so
Yeah, they keep
I know it
they've
was
added a
added a little bit
lot of
later,
stuff.
but
They got the Dune stuff in there. They got the
yeah,
Top Gun stuff in there now. They got the racing in
yeah.
there. But other than that, like just when I was doing my like launch stream of that game, like I just was flying. I picked somewhere where it was storming. like crazy storm,
Mhm.
right? And I was flying in like a 747 or some shit like that, right? And I was going crazy, and I um did some maneuvers and stuff, and ended up having to do like a water landing. So I had to pull a Captain Sully, and it was intense. It was crazy, but I ended up pulling it off. It was amazing. And then there was another part of the stream. I was flying around somewhere in Europe. I don't remember where. And I was flying in a smaller plane, and I was like almost hitting buildings and stuff. And like it was a really fucking fun stream playing that game, and I was having fun, right? I remember back in the
Yeah.
day when like games like that came out on Nintendo, like Pilot Wings and stuff like that came out. Like
Mhm.
people are like, that's not a game. Like really, you flew around with the hang gliders and shit. You know, like there's really not
Mhm.
much difference. Like, this was just much more realistic, you know, when you're doing so. But like Flight Sim for me is an impressive game. It's one that, again, for some reason, like Xbox doesn't get any credit for creating something like that, you know, which is like a standout in the simulation genre, period. Like, out of all simulation type games for vehicles or anything like that, Flight Sim might be the pinnacle, right,
Yeah.
of the genre.
I hope one day games like Forza Horizon can have almost the same level of, well, not necessarily the detail because they already got the detail, just the mapping aspect. That's what I would like to see. So when they say, "Oh yeah, it is in Japan," and it's like, "Oh, that's the street I've actually been on," or when they, if they come back to the U.S. or something like that, it's like all this, not necessarily the stores themselves, but the roads,
Hmm.
the residential sections, the highways, all of that be there, and then have it where it's map accurate and
Hmm.
stuff like that. That would be next level. And at that point, it'd be like, I guess the big complaint would be the local authorities would be like, we're getting a lot more street racers and people are
Right.
able to outrun because they're familiar with the map, so they know all the hiding places or
Yeah,
where
yeah,
where
yeah.
where to go and where not to go, kind of thing.
I see the chat saying something. I want to know y'all's feelings on this, and I want to know your opinion. Does a what is a definition of a shadow drop to you? Because for me, it was just like you don't know the release date, and it's all of a sudden it's coming out today, right? But some are
Mhm.
saying that it has to be a game we didn't know about yet. Like I, I mean, it kind of makes sense if you say it that way. Like
Yeah,
Hi-Fi Rush, we didn't technically know about yet, right?
yeah.
But I don't. I think when they've like, hey, play this today, and where it's like, oh, a huge surprise because we didn't know when the release date was or when to expect it.
Mhm.
For me, that always felt like a shadow drop. Also, I felt like a shadow drop was more necessarily about the surprise release date as opposed to the surprise game.
Yeah.
What do you? But maybe I'm wrong. What do you see as a shadow drop? Because we have to get in the mind of what Extas or how you say his name is thinking, and what is a shadow drop to him. And maybe
Mhm.
for different people it means different things. But I always thought that
Yeah.
was more about the, hey, surprise, the game's out now and we can already know about it. But maybe it's the opposite. I don't know.
That's a good question because just looking back at Hi-Fi Rush, there was only like a handful of people talking about it. It was like Jeff Grubb and like one other person on Twitter that was talking about it around the same time, or maybe before Jeff even. And it was like, well, we kind of knew it was like a Jet Set Radio-ish kind of game, but never saw it. Microsoft, Bethesda never said anything about it. I think at most some people found like the registered name for it. So yeah, that one was completely in the dark, other than a leak or two that were
Right.
out there. But I think, if I'm not mistaken, Minecraft Legends was kind of dropped that day of the showcase. I could be wrong, but I think
I don't remember.
one of those years it was either Dungeons was the day of the showcase or Legends. I think Legends was the one where we knew it was coming, but we didn't know when. But it just like, oh, and play it today, and it's like, oh wow. So
Right.
I, I guess you could no, because I was about to say, well, there would be a blind shadow drop, and I know you can't say blind playthrough anymore. So it's like, I don't want to say blind shadow drop would be like the Hi-Fi Rush versus shadow drop being like Minecraft Legends or something. But I guess, what would you call it if it's not? If
Well,
it's a
the chat
no
is saying
thing,
stealth drop,
okay,
but
stealth
I
drop.
just never really see that term used too much. Like I feel like if GTA 6 was like dropped at the Keeley show, it's never gonna happen in a million years, right? But everybody would be like, "Holy shit, they shadow dropped GTA 6." They wouldn't say they stealth dropped it. Like I think the
Yeah.
term shadow dropped would be everywhere, right? As opposed to anything else. I think just what everybody would generally go to would be, "Oh my god, it's a shadow drop," you know.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah, GTA, I'm pretty sure Shadow Drop would probably be used. It probably should be called Stealth
Stealth,
Drop at that
right?
point, but
It's just like
I
a
could
term.
see everybody be like,
I
Shadow Drop of the
yeah,
Century.
I get the logistics of the argument there. I just think generally, like in casually when people are talking about these games and stuff, like when they say shadow drop, they don't necessarily mean it has to be a game that is unknown, right? So if it was that case and we're being that specific, then you would have to really narrow it down, right? And if it's first party, it would have to be like something from Double Fine, some other surprise game from another first party studio, maybe like the Wu-Tang game, something like that, like something like, oh, what is this? Oh my god, it's out now. Cool, that's amazing, you
Mhm.
know. But like, that is so rare that we have a game we didn't know about all of a sudden just get released, you know. Hi-Fi Rush is one of the few times like I can remember in recent memory where that's happened.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I don't think there's too many out of the blue, play it today kind of thing. At least on Xbox,
yeah.
I don't recall any. I do recall like there were a couple of games that they had where it's like, oh, we already knew it was coming, but we didn't know when. And
Hmm.
it was like, oh, play it today. I think they even did that with Scorn. Maybe was no, Scorn had a release date.
Yeah. Yeah. Scorn had a release
There
date.
was another one that it was like, oh, available today. But like I said, I think Minecraft Legends was one. I think there was another one within the past couple of years where it's like, when's the release date? Oh, it's playable today.
Right.
What?
Yeah. They kind of hold that for some certain games for some reason, and maybe it's what the developers want. Maybe that's how they decide it. Like that's how they kind of painted it with Hi-Fi Rush. That's like was their surprise, and they wanted to surprise people, but who knows exactly what the real reasoning was. I saw somebody in the chat said Gears of War Marcus Phoenix collection could be a shadow drop because that would
Yeah.
fit both categories. Technically, it hasn't been announced yet. You know, that would make sense too, especially for a summer game leading up, filling in the gap here before the onslaught that we're about to uh, go into. If it
Mhm.
exists, for sure. There's some people out there that think Gears Marcus Phoenix collection does not exist. There's some people that say they 100% know that it exists and thought we were going to see it at the Game Awards last year. So who knows exactly for sure? But I do think that that's one game that I've seen a split in the community to where I see people say it's 100% fake and people say it's 100% real, right? And each group seeming like they're 100% sure of it. So I don't know who to believe. I don't know who to believe. However, my heart wants to believe that it exists. So that's what I'm going to roll with. And if that does exist, I think we could see it potentially this year or early next year. Because I think Gear 6 is probably 2026 game. Would you agree with that for the most part?
Yeah. Yeah. Like 2026, I think, is the year of Gear 6, Forza Horizon 6, and possibly Elder Scrolls 6 at the end.
Yeah.
But it might get pushed. We'll
People
see.
think that's crazy speculation for Elder Scrolls 6 in 2026. But
You, see,
there's a
the thing
reason why it
about it
makes
is,
sense.
well, I think the big thing is they already got what they know out of Creation Engine 2. Like, I don't think they're going to use a new engine. I think they're going
Yeah.
to use the same one for Starfield. So the updates they made to Starfield can be directly translated over Elder Scrolls 6. And then it's just a matter of building out the story, which I would have to believe is probably already in like storyboard mode before they even
Mm-hmm.
finish Starfield. So I think 2026 is a reasonable time, or at least if we don't get to play it, we get to see it. Let's put it that way. Definitely get to see it, but maybe not to play it. I'll leave it at that.
The other aspect to it was the ABK leaks and everything that came from Zenimax Bethesda, where you had your release schedule, right? You had Doom Year Zero, which we find out now is Doom the Dark Ages, which falls in line, right? And now we look at that knowing of when the information was all taken into account, and then seeing that there was a big pushback because of COVID and the delays and everything that took place there, and also just regular delays as well. But there was like an 18-month or so like pushback of content there. And it's falling in line with, okay, Starfield last year, then Doom this year, right? That falls in line with what their schedule was. If Doom is real and actually potentially launches this year. Now, maybe it doesn't launch this year. Maybe it launches next year, right? Who knows? Okay. But if it launches next year, then they're a little bit behind on that pattern. Okay. But if you do look at the pattern, it was Elder Scrolls 6 was originally planned 3 years after Starfield. ZeniMax's other game was also supposed to be the year after Starfield. So we don't know when that game's going to be. It could be next year also. But we've been speculating that based on those rumors before, that ZeniMax's game is going to get revealed at this showcase. I haven't seen a lot of people talking about this game, Fuzzy, besides us. Like we've been talking about ZeniMax Online's game a lot on this channel, speculating that it should show up this year. Maybe we're completely wrong, but just seems like timing wise and like potential buzz in the background, feelings from certain people and stuff, like it's possible that we see ZeniMax Online's game this year. And they were very excited about this game.
It makes sense timing wise, because like my gut's still saying it's a Starfield MMO kind of thing.
Right.
But if there's a license attached to it as well, whether it be Star Wars or something else, that will be an over-the-top surprise, gotcha kind of like, that would be the old, I don't think they'll stealth drop that, but whatever it winds up being, I think will catch some attention. Just for the fact that like Starfield, I know people still want to down it for whatever silly reason, but that was an awesome game to me, and I would have to believe they're probably, if it's going to be space related, they'll probably take some cues from that. So gotta believe it's something space MMO related.
Oof. Yeah, I was just talking to Psycho in the DMs. His PC is having issues. Yeah, maybe maybe we get that. Maybe we'll get the Doom game. We get the Starfield expansion. We get other expansions and content updates. We get Perfect Dark. I think a lot of people are on board with that. There's a lot of reasons to be excited about this show. But I want to go into the second rumor from Extus. Was that they are going to tease the handheld and confirm its existence. This was something we talked about a couple weeks ago, and we were kind of taking votes on in our chat and on our show. And a couple of us were saying, yeah, they could just acknowledge it and tease it, right? Some of us were like, no hardware, right? Where are you sitting on this one? Like the huge truck assault with this, but like, does it make sense? Because Sarah's already mentioned hardware a couple times, right? Phil's been out there liking stuff about handhelds all over the place and things like that. Is it time where they acknowledge the existence of this Xbox handheld?
I think so. And you had a good point about it. I think way back when they announced that whole multiple Wi-Fi changes kind of thing.
Yeah.
Where you could, set it up so you could have like your home Wi-Fi and then Wi-Fi.
It would automatically connect to the different Wi-Fis you have saved, as opposed to having to do it manually, right?
Why else would they do that? Like, I mean, yes, I'm pretty sure there are people that take their Series S or maybe even their Series X with them on the road. but that, like you said, it makes more sense if it's a handheld. They just got to get that whole home console thing kind of figured out, type of deal. But other than
Right.
that, yeah, I maybe we don't see a price, or maybe we don't hear about the pricing. We just see it in some of the clips or some of the sizzle reels that they show. Um, and people would be like, "Oh no, that was a ROG Ally X or something like that." But no, I think we see it. I don't know if they mention a price, or they'll say, "Stay tuned this holiday for more info," kind of thing. But you always see those commercials. Like, remember, we saw the headset before we knew that it was a headset from Xbox.
Right.
So I think we see it that way. So I think it gets teased in a reel, sizzle reel of some sort, and more info comes close to the holiday.
I think we see a tease, but if there is a tease, like it's early next year probably or the end of this year. I don't think they wait a whole year and a half to launch hardware that they're teasing, right? So
Yeah.
if this is true, then maybe we see this thing, and maybe it would fit kind of with my idea about like crossing the gaps of the generations. You know what I mean? And it always made sense for me because a lot of people were speculating that it makes sense to launch the handheld at the beginning of the generation, right? And okay, yeah, that is a fair point. But for me, I'm looking at, okay, what's the cost of making a handheld and having the handheld last, right? And we know that Xbox is going to be supporting generations for a few years into each generational cycle anyway, just like they did this one. And so they're probably going to be supporting Series S 2 or 3 years at least into the next generation, right? So if the next generation launches in, let's say, 2026 or potentially early 2027, whatever, then you'd be looking at possible support for the Series S until 2029 from first party. Maybe you have like one big first party game that doesn't launch on Series S or something like that, right? But if that's the case, then the handheld, if you release it in 2024, 2025, would have a good 4 or 5 years life cycle of updated new first party content that's playable on the device, right? And even potentially after it, because there will always be some games that they'll release that'll still be playable last generation, not necessarily the big tentpole games and stuff. But you would have a device then that's now it's more affordable because you're launching it later in the generation, right? It's not holding back as much the next generation, because if you launch it like early next generation, to be at a certain price point, you got to be at a certain level of power and capabilities. Now, it would be, if you were to put it into perspective, what if they in 2020 had launched a Series X and a handheld? I guarantee you the handheld wouldn't be as powerful as the Series S is. So
it would have to have been less at this point.
right, at that point, right? So then you look at it today, we would be, the developers would have to be thinking about that as opposed to the Series X and the Series S. And everybody, a lot of people already have a problem with the developers having to worry about the Series S. So imagine them having to worry about even less, okay? Now put that into perspective going forward, okay? Let's say we're 2026, 2027. Do you want them to have that same potential thing going forward for that generation of, or would you rather the handheld cross the bridge of the generations and release more in the middle of each one to where it's still being supported, but then later the technology is more affordable for the price point and they can release a device that's going to last longer, right? And be more obtainable as well, and not hold potential games back also, right? Because if they released a handheld now, I think it'd probably be on par with the Series S.
And I think it would have some fallback as far as, and this is the mindset I've been thinking as far as for this handheld the entire time, is if some of the rumors of them doing ARM chips, I mean, they're already doing that Snapdragon stuff for some of the Copilot PCs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, if they go full ARM, have that, MPU for the up-res type stuff when you go to, dock it or whatever, or at least have the up-res for portable mode so that way you get at least 1080 and 60 frames and all that good stuff. Once the games get to the point where they exceed the console spec, you could fall back on the emulation for like the PC spec that's built in it, which, yeah, it may not look as good at that point. It might be a matter of, well, the games are now running at 640 or something, or 680 or something. That MPU on it upscales it up to like 720 or 1080 or something like that, as opposed to upscaling it higher. So I think if you make it a PC handheld, much like the ROG Allies and your Steam Decks and stuff today, but not necessarily the same spec, but do that ARM chip, those things will probably last almost the entire next generation. It's just that they'll start looking like the Switch as you get closer towards the end of the generation. But up to that point, a lot of the games will look on par, like much like a Series S, if not better. I think the only drawback now with Series S power on a handheld is battery life. But they've just about gotten to the point where I think if they go with the 3 nanometer now, I think is the spec that they're going for, those are able to do Series S power and have, I won't say all day battery life, but at least probably something close to 3 or 4 hour battery life, which for handhelds, unfortunately, if you can get 4 hours, you're doing good kind of thing. So
right. I agree. I think Asus or Asus, however you want to say it, they just announced the next iteration of the ROG Ally, right? These hardware handhelds in that space are going to be updated every few years anyway. So that's kind of like they're going to be in a competing market with those as much as they are other things. So for them, I don't know if it matters if they make one every 3 or 4 years, and just keep upgrading it, and because that's what the rest of the market's doing. Nobody complains about that with those other ones. They just keep looking forward to the new handheld devices coming out, So it'll be interesting to see what takes place there. Another rumor was Octopath Traveler 2 actually potentially going into Game Pass. Announced at the show. It's happened before. Remember, Octopath Traveler 1 was originally exclusive to Nintendo. And then later it came to Xbox and Game Pass when it launched on Xbox. And then we were all surprised when Octopath Traveler 2 launched everywhere but Xbox this time around. But now the whole Square partnership and all these other things going on. There's been speculation about Square showing up at the show in some capacity to kind of reinforce this new relationship that they have going forward. And they're going to be embracing Xbox. So maybe Octopath Traveler 2 in Game Pass, and maybe sooner than we expect, maybe right away, would be something that would kind of kick that off a little bit. So
yeah, I totally expect Square to be at the showcase. I don't know if they have anything more beyond Octopath 2, but I'm thinking we eventually get an announcement date for Final Fantasy 16. I don't think PlayStation got the full 2 years. I think there was like maybe a 6-month thing, but that was mainly for PC. But I would not be surprised if Final Fantasy 16 comes sooner rather than later. And then we already had that one that they announced at the Dev Direct, the something Mana or something like that. I wouldn't be surprised if that one has
Visions of Mana.
a release date.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if that one gets the release date and whatnot as well, because I think they were hinting at July time or something from the direct, but maybe they'll narrow it down instead of just the month. They'll narrow it down to an actual date type of deal. But
yeah,
I know this will probably be a sore spot, and it's not that I'm looking forward to this or anything like that, but I would not be surprised if they are acquired.
Square,
or they just say or they just do like a Sega partnership. I think at this point, I think Xbox is probably more comfortable doing partnerships, just so that way they're not beholden to having to keep the lights on for everything over there.
Yeah.
I know they had their recent closure with with Tango. I think if they partner and have it where they can control know, I guess the financial support that they put towards a game to get the backing and get the game on their platform or maybe in Game Pass, I think they're probably, at least now, it looks like they're probably more comfortable doing that, especially with the way things are with Sega, because
Yeah.
Atlas is doing tremendous on the platform. Sega as a whole has been doing great as well. So
Yeah, and Square's value is like so like bad right now. I think that Square is interesting because we've speculated a lot in the past about, okay, what Eastern publisher could they make a move for? And Square's come up numerous times because of the position that they're in, right? We've seen them more or so of this new relationship and talk and stuff from them lately. But I gotta be honest now, like if I was Xbox, seeing the direction that Square's going in now, I would feel less necessary to acquire them, and do more of like a partnership type thing. Plus, also, I would be looking at what did it do for Sony, doing all those exclusive deals, right? Like, yeah, it gave them kind of a pipeline, but almost every single game that they released as exclusive on PlayStation has been a commercial failure. So you're looking at, okay, well, as a platform exclusive company, that company has just delivered a bunch of underperforming failures time and time again, even from their biggest franchises, right? So for me, I'm like, do you make the move there and invest in that, or do you just let them be multi-plat and do those deals because it's going to cost you less? And maybe Square's so desperate they're just going to be willing to take Game Pass money. Because if they're desperate, which I think Square is somewhat desperate for cash flow and for easy deals, because they're losing. If they're going multi-plat, we have to think about what that means, right? They're losing their insurance money they were taking up front from Sony on a lot of these games.
Yeah.
And if they're losing that, how do they make up for that? Plus, also their value is less, and they've had failures and all these other kind of things, right? The crypto shit was stupid and didn't work out. So they could still be looking for money, but like, what's the deal you can make that doesn't restrict your games from being multi-platform? It's the Game Pass Day One deal. You're thinking you don't have a big audience on Xbox anyway, is what people, even the Xbox community, argues a lot of times. Well, nobody buys those games. We don't even care about those games, is what they say all the time. So like, if you're Square, hey, take the money from Xbox through the Game Pass deal, put those games on Xbox and put them everywhere else, but put them in Game Pass, right? So you get the insurance money, but you also still get to sell games on Nintendo or Xbox or PlayStation or whatever else, PC as well. Like, I still can't fucking believe that they launched like Final Fantasy 16 and it didn't even launch on PC at launch. Like, it's just insane. It's insane to me what they're thinking. And it's no surprise why they're in the position they are. But if I'm an Xbox, maybe you don't even need to do that other stuff now. You just do these Game Pass deals with them, much like they've been doing with Sega. Right? And I think Sega's relationship's going to get stronger even more so. I think something you're going to see now, like going forward with some of these other publishers, you're going to see more of these Game Pass deals potentially, from the companies that have been missing Xbox, right? Not necessarily the EAs and stuff like that as much, but from some of those other companies where they're like, okay, we need to make some money here. What do we do? You know? So we'll see, man. But the Xbox show isn't the only show. Those were the rumors that kind of came out today about the Xbox show. But there's also talk from Keighley about Summer Game Fest. And this kind of happens every year, Fuzz. He kind of like downplays his show a little bit. Did you notice this is like a trend? He'll do his like live thing and he's like, yeah, we're not really expecting anything huge this year at our show. More or less just like updates on existing games and stuff like that. And I think it's more about trying to keep expectations in check, because like he wants people to have positive after thoughts about his show. And if he's telling people that everything's going to be revealed here, watch, and then it doesn't happen, people are going to be pissed. So, do you think like there's really not going to be anything exciting there, because he's kind of hinting that no
Yeah.
big huge reveals or whatever.
I mean, it, with him saying it's going to be kind of light or something like that, I'm assuming he didn't land the
More
Rockstar
on new game
second
reveals.
trailer.
Yeah. Well, he said there's new
Like,
game reveals, but I think he's talking more about the smaller games will be new game reveals.
yeah. No, I think he's probably, like you said, trying to, set expectations a little bit lower so that way when he does have something possibly from Xbox where maybe um, they show like an update for um, I think like well no State of Decay 3 would make more sense to have their own showcase, but it's quite possible that they have like what was it, Certain Affinities game that they're working with 343 on. Um, Maybe that makes an appearance there, and that's the thing that kind of blows people's minds. Even though it'd probably make a better showing at the showcase, but maybe they want to rather show something from 343 at the showcase and then Certain Affinities at Summer Showcase or something along those lines. But if you look at what was it, the Game Awards last year with OD and Blade, I think he tried to downplay it before, and those were talks of the town. So
big, no, exactly.
So,
but in his mind, so what if their big reveals are Xbox games, because he doesn't consider those big anyway? You know Keeley, right? Like the
not for
Xbox kid,
Kojima or PlayStation. Yeah,
you said, Xbox fucking showed up with Blade. You know what I mean? And he was trying to downplay those shows beforehand, also. So what if we Xbox shows up here with something, and after the show he's like, yeah, see, I told you just more about these kind of games, smaller games and stuff, but Xbox literally reveals some massive fucking game there. It wouldn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah.
But the reason I'm more in line with possibility that Xbox could have some stuff at that show, even if it's updates to existing games, is just because of needing to cut down time for their own show. Right? So you could generate excitement at the Keeley show for the Xbox show by revealing a little bit there, right? Maybe you update Fable there or Perfect Dark there or something, hypothetically. I think they should save it for the Xbox show. But hypothetically, they showed Perfect Dark at the Game Awards before, right? So they've given that to Keeley before. So what if they kind of give him a bone here or there just to save time for their own showcase? Or maybe they do some of the Blizzard stuff there. Some of the updates, okay, World of Warcraft update could be that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And instead of taking time at your own show. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I want to know, overall, do you think there's reason to still be excited about Keeley's show?
Yeah, because there's always things that he probably doesn't consider exciting, and I know there were a couple of Xbox show or Xbox.
If it's not The Last of Us or Kojima, it's not exciting to Keeley. Just be real.
I forget what the names of the two games were, but they were you were playing as a robot. One was more of a horror game, and the other one, I think it was almost the closest thing that comes to mind is iRobot type of deal.
Right.
But they were two robot-based games that they showed that were coming to Xbox or coming to Game Pass, showed at the Summer Games Fest last year. So there's bound to be some more stuff like that. I think Atomic Heart showed up at the Summer Games Fest a few years back, as well, a follow-up after they had already shown it at an Xbox showcase kind of thing. So yeah, I'm curious to see what other Xbox games. Maybe Flintlock gets shown there.
Good call.
Because I'm looking forward to that one as well.
You could have some indie stuff that's coming to Game Pass as well. The thing with Keeley is sometimes after the end of the trailers, even if it's coming to Game Pass, he doesn't let them do that. He doesn't like to have the branded marketing of multiplat games after the multiplat games. It seems like, I don't know if it's a rule or what. But generally, I remember last show we had for Keeley's show, it was there was really nothing at the end of those trailers that we're used to seeing, So I think he's less. I think he tries to allow it to be more focused on the games and less about the platforms.
Yeah.
And so that's what's interesting because it kind of, if I'm Xbox, if that's the case, it kind of like limits the impact of showing certain things in a certain way, especially for the Game Pass deals. But in my mind, I was thinking Stalker would be a good one to show there as well, right? Because there's some hype for it. It's a good audience
Yeah.
for it. We know that the game's a timed exclusive also. So later on, eventually, if it comes to other places, you're still showing it to people that aren't just Xbox fans as well, right? Who knows exactly what the plan is with that game for the developer later on, but overall, I think it would make some sense. Yeah, I'm excited, dude. Fucking pumped. Showcase season is here, dude. It's here. Friday. We're
Like
we're
Christmas
close.
Eve.
Yeah, it's Monday.
Feel like it.
Well, on PM and the PM on Thursday, me and Pong will be live, and then it'll be like Showcase Eve that night. I'm sure we'll have some fun last minute thoughts. The way it's gonna go this week, though, we're probably gonna get leaks every fucking day.
Yeah.
It seems like, because I don't know if it's because of the YouTube thing or whatever, that there's more people that know about the Xbox show than ever before. Am I crazy? Like, we literally had Tom Warren like saying Gears of War was going to be there like 2 months ago.
I think, and the thing that's weird about all of that, I've thought this before, where sometimes I think Xbox releases misinformation purposely
Right.
to see who the leaks are within their walls, kind of thing. Like when Jeff Grubb was talking about some of the stuff in relation to either Hi-Fi Rush or whatever, although I guess he was talking to Microsoft people instead of Xbox people. Um, there was a couple of times where he was talking about stuff with Xbox, and it's like, that just sounds like they set up somebody to leak this so that way they know who is the leaker, kind of thing. So
Right.
it's like, yeah, they probably outed his source at that point, type of deal. But yeah, there are a lot more people that seem like they know. I don't know if it's because the devs are a little looser with their lips, kind of thing these days, but or it's just honestly, I think sometimes, just like we have speculation, I think some of these people have speculation, but they have some insight. Like they may hear, "Oh yeah, we should be able to wrap this up before the year's out," so they're like, "Oh, it's got to be at the showcase because they're going to probably finish it before the year's out," kind of thing. So there sometimes their speculation has a little bit of inside information, but
Yeah.
sometimes I think they just make stuff up. Like, "Oh, the whole slate's coming over to PlayStation."
Well, yeah.
Okay, how'd you go from one game to two games to all games? Like, there's got to be some steps in between.
But so
kind of thing.
far, I mean, really, what they did is they did 4 older games, a couple of them live service games, and
Mhm.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. I know a lot of the rumors also are going to be that Gears of War and Halo is going to go to PlayStation as well eventually. It's led people to think that they're actually going to mention PlayStation at the showcase and stuff. Like, it's like a lot of this stuff is just like, come on. Maybe Halo eventually shows up there. Maybe Gears eventually shows up there, but they're not going to like announce that at an Xbox show, right? This is still the Xbox showcase, and I don't plan on seeing like them talking about their multi-platform future at something like this. Like, I think it's more going to be in the forward. It's just going to be sometimes a game is going to get announced and it'll kind of surprise some people, and we'll deal with whatever game that happens with at the time. Doom is one that was the latest rumor, right? That's another rumor thing that we're all supposedly it's going to be here at this show. It's ready to be shown. We got a name for it, even a Doom: The Dark Ages, supposedly, probably another YouTube leak. Who knows? But that one was one that didn't really surprise me that it's going to be multi-plat as well. and I didn't really like put that in the same box that I would put like a Halo or Gears going multi-platform.
Yeah.
Because Doom's all historically the last several years, last several releases been everywhere. So when they talked about legacy titles and they talked about other things, there was okay, what does that mean? And it's been a question all along, right? So Doom for me wasn't this like, oh, let's add this to the pile of negative doom and gloom for Xbox. It was more just like, okay, like here's another one that's going multiplat, but like it's also one that we've all speculated before this whole conversation that was still possible, right? Elder Scrolls 6 will be the most interesting one because Phil already said that one was going to be exclusive. And if they change that, remember even in the ABK thing, they were like arguing their cases for it, right? But they said they hadn't made any final decisions also. We'll see on that one because that's also an existing franchise that's everywhere. But that would be where the strategy shift comes into play, right? But it's interesting, man. We're gonna find out. What besides anything racing related, but before we get into tidbits, what is?
Oh, I forgot all about tidbits. Oh my god.
We'll make it work. Don't worry about it. We'll make it work. There's probably like not much releasing this week anyway because it's showcase leading into showcase week. What's like one thing that is like would make or break this whole besides racing? Stay away from racing. Yeah. I know it's like you have to always go racing. Besides something racing, what is something that would just this showcase season? Because I won't get to talk to you again until Friday night. That means we'll have already had Summer Game Fest. Okay. What's one thing that would make this whole showcase season for you? Just one game reveal or release date or whatever.
I'm gonna lean more towards like what do you call it? Bethesda Online. If like if it's Starfield MMO or something in the Starfield universe, that will break it for me. Well, not break it in the bad way. That will. I'll lose my mind on that one. I'll be so happy if they go a step further and make it a license IP, like.
Yeah,
because I know some people gave Phil guff about the whole, KOTOR deal with the PlayStation exclusivity, blah blah blah, and we all see how that worked out. But what if they had the, Star Wars IP, and you have a Jedi game where a game where you can be basically whatever you want to be in the Star Wars universe? That would be another one that would break it for me to the point where it's like this, just that game alone outdoes everything else. But I already know that there's going to be tons of stuff. Like I'm already excited for Stalker 2. I'm already excited for Avowed. I'm already excited for Indiana Jones. I'm already excited for Flight Sim 2024. I know that there's a few others that I'm missing. We'll see if Clockwork is also there as well. But Bethesda Online, if it's space related, whether it's Starfield or Star Wars or some other licensed space something, I'm not gonna cackle like a little kid, but I'll definitely jump out of my chair type of thing. So yeah, I'll be pretty pumped for that.
Right on, man. Yeah, I love it, dude. For me, it would be Splinter Cell. If they show Splinter Cell and it shows well, and that could show at the Xbox show. It could show at Keely's show. I don't think it's gonna show at Keely's show because he would have. I think it alluded to they have a big surprise, right? So that he would consider that a new game reveal, even though it's been announced technically. So I think you have slim possibility at the Keely show, a little bit bigger possibility at the Xbox show, and then a large possibility at the Ubisoft Forward.
Yeah.
So, I mean, who knows, man? But like Splinter Cell, man, especially if it shows good. I don't want no Silent Hill 2 showing for Splinter Cell. Okay? Like, if Splinter Cell, the remake, looks like Silent Hill 2 level remake, I'll be fucking not very happy. That will piss me off. But Splinter Cell, man, like I need to see it. Yeah. Oh, Brian said it's gonna be at the. Oh, he says it'll be at the Ubisoft Forward. I've heard a lot of this is another rumor that's been going around from the Splinter Cell community. They've been kind of like vibing this year that this is the year we're finally gonna see it. My thinking is this is how I would do it. Like if you're Xbox, you got to get the marketing for that, right? Like it's been a franchise that was synonymous for Xbox in the past. Phil knows this. You got to get the marketing right. They've done deals with Ubisoft already. Maybe Assassin's Creed Shadows has PlayStation marketing or something like that. I don't know, but like who cares? You get the fucking marketing for Splinter Cell, and you have the marketing for Star Wars Outlaws. Yeah, that's a win, right? But Splinter Cell, yes, please. So reveal it at the Xbox show with an extended look at the Ubisoft Forward. And then you announce it for like 2025. That would make my whole fucking showcase season. You could literally have nothing else. I don't care. I saw in the chat people asking when we're going to go live. So I'm going to kind of run through the schedule real quick. On June the 7th, which is Friday, we're going to go live at 4 p.m. Eastern time. That's going to be the lead up to Summer Game Fest. So we're going to cover Summer Game Fest for Keely's show. And then we're going to roll into after that. There's going to be a Devolver Digital and a couple other shows that are going to end around like 7:30 Eastern time. We'll take a break. Then we'll be back live for Xbox Ultimate Podcast Friday night. So we're going to have a long day Friday for any of the fam that wants to hop in. I know at least I will have a long day on Friday podcasting and co-streaming all this shit. And then on the 8th, they have multiple shows. I'm not going to co-stream all of them. They have like a Future of Play Direct. They have a Wholesome Direct, the Latin American Game Showcase. And then they have women-led games. And then they have the Future Game Show. So what my plan is to go live about an hour before the Future Game Show, kind of recap the things that we've seen, and then co-stream the Future Game Show on the 8th. So plan on us going live at 2 p.m. Eastern on the 8th. Which is Saturday. And then on the 9th, which is the big day, the Xbox Showcase, we will be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. It's an hour before the Xbox Showcase. After the Xbox show, we'll have our reactions and everything. And then we'll roll right into the PC gaming show. And that should probably be over around like 6 Eastern Time or something like that. So we'll be live for a good 5-6 hours. It's going to be nuts, guys. And then on what is this, Sunday now or what's the 10th? It's Monday, right? The 10th is Monday.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, it's Monday.
Yeah, so it's Monday.
Yeah, so on the 10th, Ubisoft Forward. And going to go live for that at probably 2 or 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time. It's going to be a whirlwind. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Tune in. We're going to be co-streaming as much as possible. This is always a fun place to hang out. And whoever's able from the Fun Spec fam is going to hop in with us. And if nobody's available, then I'll do it myself. And we'll have fun. And it's okay because we're going to have a blast watching these shows and chilling together. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. It's very, very exciting. Well, everybody, we'll figure this out, Fuzz. I don't know if we'll figure out tidbits. I don't even know what there is this week. But we have one
there's
more.
Like 4 or 5 games. So
okay,
I got a couple of the. Yeah, I got a couple of them here. Wait, let me see.
We got one segment left here, and it's called. This is Tidbits, the segment where we look ahead at the games releasing this week. Got some trailers here. Fuzzy's helping out, getting it set together. And it's usually a lighter week, a week of showcase season, unless there's like shadow drops and stuff. So we will see what there is. Destiny 2, the final shape. Ooh, that's not a little release. That's a big release. Some people got to play this already.
Yeah, they uploaded it a little on the early side.
Is the Destiny community hyped for this right now, or?
It seems like they're hyped to get back into it because a lot of people have put it down for a while.
Yeah.
And I think the big thing is everybody's waiting for guides on some of the exotics and what to go for and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So if anybody's missed like the past 2 DLCs kind of thing, took a break like for a year. I know some, put it down for like a year. It doesn't seem like it's going to take them too long to get acclimated, but there's a few decent guns. 1 rocket launcher, pulse rifle, and there was also a sniper that what do you call them? Synergizes with like the solar power.
Right.
Not solar power, but I forget what they call it. I haven't played Destiny a bit.
I've seen less people talking about this expansion than about any, which is surprising for me because it's like the last one. Right?
Yeah.
But, I mean, maybe this is going to hit a home run for them and it's going to be amazing. I hope it does. Yo, Alvin hit us with a $10 super chat. Appreciate you. Alvin says the Destiny community is hyped. All-time hyped. Right on, Alvin. Thanks for putting me in check there because I'm out of touch with the Destiny community 100%. What I'm relaying is just the overall talk I've seen on Twitter and stuff. I haven't seen as much, but that's maybe just because of my feed.
Nobody makes my fate but me.
All the community numbers are way up since Into the Light. It's a big deal. Right on, dude.
Nice.
Yeah, I was looking for some Destiny fans in the chat to let me know. Destiny 2, the final shape. I just never really got into Destiny as much as I thought I would.
It took me a while to get into it. Like, I was always more of a Division player, but I think vanilla Destiny is what Destiny 1, the vanilla version when it first launched, is what killed it for me because I couldn't figure out how to get past, I think it was like level 26 or something.
Right.
Like there was like a wall where it's like, where am I supposed to go now to get more powerful gear? And it's like, oh, I got to do raids with people, but the people that I usually did raids with only did it during certain hours. So it's like, oh, I'm on my own. And then playing it on PlayStation, playing with randos was like the worst experience. Nobody had a mic. I mean, I still had that peppermint mic or whatever you want to call it.
Right.
People would just run past all the enemies, and that was like the end of it kind of thing.
Yeah, Destiny 1 early on with the first raids and stuff is what killed it for me too, because I just didn't have time to play with the people, and like I had to, as a commitment, so this game is one I will never fucking play, but I'm glad for the people that are excited about it.
Clowns?
I don't do clowns, dude. Like, I will have nightmares. I know they look stupid and silly, but I don't care. Like, I will literally, like, I can't do it.
Yeah.
No clowns for me.
There's a handful of people that I guess played the beta that was saying that it's fun because it's like 3 versus 7.
Yeah.
So the cool thing is you can beat the crap out of the killer clowns, or you can like help res other human players and things like that. So that kind of makes it cool.
Yeah.
It'll have probably a longer lifespan than like Friday the 13th in that regard.
Alvin says he's 8K hours now and haven't ran a raid in 9 years. Lots of other stuff to do. Yeah, like for me, it was just that early stuff, and I kind of stepped away, and then I just never really got back into it. The problem is whenever I decided to try and step back into Destiny, it just seemed so confusing as like, what do I do? Where do I go? How do I get back into this? And I think I would need to play with somebody that was more of a Destiny veteran getting back into it. Gameplay wise, it was fun.
Yeah.
This is Star Wars Hunters. Mobile and Switch, I
Yeah,
think.
Star Wars Hunters. Yeah, coming to Switch and iOS. Um, basically, I think this is the mobile version we're looking at, as opposed. Well, no, it's got to be the Switch version because it is
Yeah.
from the Switch channel or Nintendo's channel. Now, this one I couldn't find the mobile video or what it will look like.
This is
But
launching
Mirage,
on mobile?
Assassin's Creed Mirage is finally coming to iOS.
Ubisoft is
That's not
doing
gonna-
that. Ubisoft and Capcom.
Yeah. They like these new cell phones that are like little mini consoles to some extent. Now, I don't think it's going to look this good on your was it iPhone 15 or iPhone 14 Pro or whatever, but it'll still look decent. Early went to court, did some stuff, some family stuff earlier, got that all squared away. Came back, did some video games, and came back, did a podcast with Boone, and then played some video games.
Long day for you, man. Even the first thing you did, you talked about like that's a full day for me. I come home, I'm done. You know, something like that. Like,
yeah.
Congratulations again, by the way.
Thank you.
Assassin's Creed Mirage Deluxe Edition, mobile. Is there anything else?
No, that's it for until the showcases. So light week, so don't have to worry about too much backlog stuff or anything like that. But yeah, pretty okay week. Destiny is probably the highlight, I would say, for the most part.
Yeah, that's a big release. That is a big release, right? So there's that. Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I know there's a lot of fans of that genre, plus also the IP and stuff. People have been talking positively about it on social media, thinking they're having a lot of fun. So I think that's a decent release as well. The other two, there was
mobile /
the Star Wars Hunters game, which is mobile and Switch. Overwatch kind of clone Star Wars game, and then you had the Mirage release for mobile. So cool. Yeah. Decent, I guess a decent little week for showcase week. Sometimes like there are shadow drops and stuff, so like maybe there could be something to come out on Friday that we don't know about from Keely's show. Sunday for the Xbox show. Maybe even, I don't think Ubisoft will have any shadow drops, but who knows? Maybe Monday for Ubisoft show. But we'll have to keep an eye open. But everybody, if you want to watch the content here, come hang out with us for showcase season. We'll be co-streaming everything. Fuzzy, thanks for hanging out, man. If it wasn't for you and your tired ass after this long ass day that you've had, I'd been here by myself. This would have been a Mavcast episode of FSP. Psycho's computer's fucked, so we don't know how he's gonna figure that out. Jasper's in a place where he can't do anything now. So 3-Bit just got married. Congratulations again to 3-Bit. For everybody who doesn't know, or missed our show on Friday when we were ribbing 3-Bit a lot, he got married on Friday, and so he's going to be unavailable until showcases and stuff. But this was fun, dude. This is 2-man episode of FSP. You did amazing as always. Thanks for all the help you on the show and for everything. Chat, you guys rock and are amazing. But Fuzzy, tell everybody where they can find you, bro.
Oh, as always a pleasure doing the podcast with you, Mav. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Greatly appreciate you guys checking us out. And yes, long day, but hung in there. I know a few people will say Fuzzy looks sleepy, but but I'll tell you this:
sleepy, so.
the excitement for gaming right now with the showcases right around the corner, that's got my juices flowing. So I can't wait until Sunday. Looking forward to what Xbox is going to show us for the rest, what we're getting the rest of this year type of deal. Already have a good idea what we're getting, but release dates what else is coming to Game Pass, and there's going to be some surprises. But for those that want to hear my rambles and rants on anything gaming related, just follow me on the app formerly known as Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere, and then hope to see you guys here. Wait, we're not doing the is it Xbox Ultimate still Friday or no?
Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and have it because we can get everybody's thoughts on what we saw at Summer Game Fest. It'll be a long day of podcasting, but yeah, I plan on doing the co-streams, and then we'll take a break and then have the show that night.
Yeah. So hope to see everybody back here in the chat on Friday for Xbox Ultimate, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Right on.
Now, tell everybody where they can find you.
Here, FSP. Thursday, PM in the PM, Pong Soul and I will be live Thursday. That'll be kind of like Showcase Eve, right? Because after PM in the PM that night, we're going to be rolling into 4 days of co-streams and shows and stuff. So look forward to that. And like Fuzzy said, Friday the co-streams are going to start, and then Friday night Xbox Ultimate. Saturday co-streams for the other shows, Future Game Show primarily. Then Sunday you'll have the Xbox Showcase stream, followed by the other shows that are that day, and then continuing it on to Monday with Ubisoft Forward. Fuck, dude. I know one thing with last little note here. Everybody says, I miss E3, I miss E3. For me as a viewer, on it, like in taking the content in and seeing all the shows, it doesn't really feel that any much different. Like, I think Nintendo could still surprise us with a show shortly after this whole thing with some kind of Nintendo Direct. I think that Keeley's shows kind of is something we didn't usually get as like an all-encompassing type show at E3. I think the big omission is just PlayStation. We used to have an EA show, but it always sucked ass anyway. Like, so I mean, really, overall, we're missing the convention where everybody got to go, but I never got to go anyway. For me, right? So yeah, I miss knowing it existed, but as a viewer and how I partake in getting the content, it honestly feels really similar. We're getting a lot of game previews. We're going to have a lot of game reveals. We're going to have a lot of game announcements. We're going to have a lot of game trailers. We're going to have a lot of game release dates. We're going to have a lot of game updates, all in the period of 4 days. Still feels like E3 to me. So, and by the way, the last several years of E3, it was Xbox anyway, right? Let's just be real. Without the other shows, it was. I mean, Xbox pretty much was E3 for several years, right? This is really no different. So anyway, I miss the word E3 because it just is easier to say. But overall, what we're getting, I think it's going to be fucking awesome. So I'm excited for it. No clouds hanging over here. If you want to have some fun, watch game reveals, game announcements, game trailer release dates, possibilities, and see hype about gaming when else is going down, come here, hang out with us. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys for being here in the chat and all the support you've shown on the channel for the last several years. So we're at 3-4 years, whatever. Fuck. Few years. Have a good one, everybody. Peace out.